All right, here we are. Dirty Sports episode 775. We are live on YouTube in 5, 4, 3. Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast. I am your host, Andy Ruther, coming to you live from Cincinnati, Ohio, home of the Cincinnati Bengals, with my co-host from Los Angeles, California, Joey No Chill Prano.
Los Angeles Rams and Chargers. You're in a Bengals jersey now? I mean, this is taking a lot of twists and turns.
I am. I'm wearing a Carson Palmer jersey. It's the last Cincinnati Bengals jersey that I purchased. Purchased it in 2005 when I was living in Las Vegas. You know, I've heard some of the complaints from Bengals.
If only I had known you then, I would have been like, you idiot. Carson Palmer. May as well get your Carson Palmer Raiders jersey while you're in Las Vegas.
You know what? I'll argue this, though. Again, this is kind of goes along back to the curse of the Bengals and the curse of Mike Brown. If he doesn't shred his knee, I know there's what ifs, and it's stupid.
Oh, come on.
They win that game. They do. They beat the Steelers. They win that game. He shredded his knee on like the second or third play of the game. They win that game. They were in that game with Kitna as the backup all the way through until the end. I'm just saying. That was a very good, again, this goes back to my point, actually. This helps my point. That was a very talented, loaded Cincinnati Bengals team, that 2005 team.
Mm-hmm.
I think they had Super Bowl potential. They had played the Colts in a shootout late in the year. You probably don't remember this. I do, of course, as a Bengals supporter at that point. They had gone back and forth with Peyton Manning in a very high scoring game. They lost a close one. I was looking for a rematch. But anyway, it didn't happen, hence the curse. But we'll get to a lot of that in the show, Joe. I have there's been a lot of feedback from some very upset Cincinnati Bengals fans, which has been kind of surprised. We got some calls about it. I got some more information. You know, I like to bring statistical evidence to my arguments. I'm trying not to be too emotional, but yeah, I figured I'm here. I'm in Cincinnati. I know I have old Bengals gear stashed away somewhere, and I found this old Carson Palmer jersey that I bought at the Las Vegas outlet malls in 2005.
Solid.
Yeah, I remember exactly where I bought it, and I remember exactly where I was when he shredded his knee.
Where were you?
I was at my friend Andrew Tommaso, his house, and I was wearing this jersey. I just landed from Cincinnati after Christmas break because I had to go back to work as a teacher. I couldn't stay for the playoff game. So I had literally just landed. We went right to his condo in Las Vegas, put the game on right away. And the rest is history. But it's come full circle. Here I am.
Here you are.
Rocking the Palmer jersey. To be honest, kind of trolling, clearly. But we will get to the Bengals discussion when we cover the NFL and everything else. All that. I'm just going to tease you guys a little. Play a little game of Just the Tip. Just to start off. Now, Halloween is here before we even get to sports.
Well, it's here in a couple days.
It's here in a few days.
Yeah.
And I've been holding on to this call. I kind of want to get you worked up a little to start the show, too.
Okay.
I've been holding on to this call. We all know your feelings on people who celebrate Halloween not on Halloween. And for the most part, I agree with you. If you're an adult.
I mean, there's a lot of different things. Like, I'm not saying you can't, I'm not saying somebody can't host a Halloween party on not Halloween. You know what I mean? But my big issue is Saturday, Friday. Last week, I got a message from Zach Olmstead last week. Some of the 315 crew was in costume this past Saturday, which would have been the 23rd, I believe.
Correct.
The 23rd?
8 days ahead.
Why don't we just celebrate it all? Why don't we just celebrate Halloween and Thanksgiving and Christmas all on the same day in November? The fuck, if dates mean nothing anymore, let's just pack them all in. But the idea of going out like Friday, 100%. I'll be out on Friday. I'm doing a show down in Irvine with Eddie. If you're in the Orange County area and you want to come see me and Eddie do the Irvine Improv on Friday at 9:30, come on down. There will be people in costumes there. Who are you? What are you doing? 2 days early?
Well, I got a great call here. I couldn't believe this. Here's a call from Kyle Aronofsky. Wait until you hear what Toms River, New Jersey does.
What's going on, boys? Kyle Aronofsky calling back once again from beautiful Toms River, New Jersey, home of the 1998 Little League World Series champions. I've got something here that's going to absolutely trigger Joseph Frano. So, Toms River, on the 1998 Little League World Series champions, is very well known for their Halloween parade. Now, I feel like a Halloween parade's kind of irrelevant. Like, if it's not that popular, this isn't a Columbus Day parade or anything like that, or St. Patrick's Day. It's like having a Valentine's Day parade. But it's like world-renowned. It's one of the largest. So for the Halloween parade to be as big as it can be with as many attendees, Toms River trick-or-treats on the 30th. So when you go trick-or-treating in Toms River, New Jersey, it's not even on Halloween.
What?
I just want to hear Joe's thoughts on that. If you guys, I never even heard of a Halloween parade until Toms River, But that's it.
And
Toms start for trick-or-treating on the 30th.
Is the parade on the 30th too, or he's saying they trick-or-treat a day early so that everybody's available on the 31st for the parade?
I'm going to look it up right now.
The trick-or-treating on the 30th?
It's wild.
I would suddenly be the guy who gave out razor blades to kids if a kid knocked on my door on the 30th.
So
they'd be like, what's in this? I'd just be handing out edibles. I'd be handing out mushroom gummies and just watching kids. I'd be like, for the next 24 hours, I want you seeing fucking dragons ruin your parents' life. What?
I know.
This is like the people who open their presents early.
So the parade is also on the 30th.
What?
The parade is at night.
I don't even understand.
I don't either.
So it's on the 30th every year, or it's just on the 30th this year because it's a Saturday? They basically do the Saturday of
I don't
Halloween.
know. I'm reading right now. The event is on Saturday, October 30th at 7 p.m.
It's so ridiculous. Am I crazy, Andy? We went out like when you were a kid. I'm sure you did the Halloween like toilet papering and like
sure,
like all. If that was a Wednesday, you were out on a fucking Wednesday.
Yeah, and I have vivid memories of like you get an early snowfall, we'd be pelting cars, pelting houses with snowballs. Getting into trouble. You're right, and I know for a fact those were all weekdays. Okay, so the parade will be held on the 30th. It says the schedule follows the tradition that if Halloween falls on a Sunday, like it does this year, the parade will be on a Saturday with the rain date on Monday. So if it rains, then they hold the Halloween parade on November 1st.
And then, what?
The Toms River Halloween Parade, which began in 1937.
So if there's rain on the Saturday, they just skip Sunday entirely and go to the 1st?
There's so many questions here.
What is that? I don't even understand that. Are they just not, they don't celebrate the Devil's Day on the Sabbath or something?
I don't know what's going on here. So according to this article, it is like Kyle said, the world's second largest, according to Guinness Book of World Records, Halloween parade.
Behind what?
I
Salem,
have no clue.
Massachusetts or something?
There have only been 3 times in the history of the parade that it has been canceled. So many questions. But it says the parade's at 7 p.m. on the 30th. So isn't that when usually the trick-or-treat window, I don't know how it is. Like I know here it's always been, I think most places it's 6 to 8 is the trick-or-treat window. Because they want it to get dark first, right? So I don't know if they trick-or-treat before that. Oh, hold on.
It's ridiculous.
Actually, hold on. I just Googled.
I can't even.
I know. I have to read this though. This is another headline. Tom's River trick-or-treating set for Halloween. And here's why that's news. Trick-or-treating will actually be on Halloween this year in Tom's River, New Jersey. This is the article. Because the parade's on the 30th. So they actually will trick-or-treat on Halloween this year.
Wow.
But that's news. I'm reading like that's big news that normally does not happen.
I just think of all the holidays, it's like it's such a young person's. It's for children and like teens and like college and post-college kids who want to like slut it up.
Sure.
Adults, your only job is to take your kids trick-or-treating.
I know.
The idea that like, you know, if people my age in their 40s were like, man, you know, I got work tomorrow. I understand that. But then also my point is you're just too old for Halloween. Can you imagine if we move Christmas to like the closest Saturday?
Yeah, it doesn't matter the day it falls on.
We do, by the way, we do Thanksgiving on Thursday every fucking year. We act like we can't do weekday holidays.
Well, they would argue, well, everybody has that Friday off.
Because we give them that Friday off after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So how important is Halloween if you're not going to like give people the day off? It's just I used to love Halloween. We used to throw a Halloween party every year at my apartment in Brooklyn. I've come to hate it because it's just like, it's diluted. It's spread. It's so spread out.
It's definitely diluted.
Just go out on fucking Sunday. By the way, Sunday, what a great day for Halloween. Sunday? I people dressed up at football games.
I was gonna say, I have some good memories. I can vivid memories of being here on a football Sunday. For some reason, I remember a Sunday night football Eagles game and watching it as I was getting ready.
Sunday's just also a great day to go out. Sunday is like maybe my second favorite day to go out after Thursday. In New York, Sunday was all the gays were out on Sunday. Then in the fall and winter, you had the gays mixed in with the post-football crowd. And you know what we're doing? We're just going like, oh, if you can't go out on Sunday because you can work on Monday morning, cool. Yeah. We don't need your shitty energy.
Yeah. Dude, gay dude, that's how it was in West Hollywood and like in LA. Gay dudes dominate Sunday with the party and the brunch.
It's the best.
In fact, I used to joke about it. Like white girls would be like, you know, all the basic white girls are like bottomless mimosas. Gay guys are like bottomless cocaine and dick.
Yeah.
Like they go hard.
I mean, it's ridiculous every year to be like, that's gay. You're gay. It's like, what? I fucking party harder than anybody else. I can party and go to work on a Monday.
Oh my God. I know. No one parties like gay dudes.
Jeez,
yeah. Man. I don't know, man. It's out of control, the Halloween thing.
Dressing up 2 days early because you got work on Monday. That's so straight of you. You're so straight.
Yeah. I know. Go to West Hollywood.
You're
on
October
such a 31st.
Straight.
That's what I should go as for Halloween. A straight dude.
You should go as Carson Palmer.
the bandage around my knee.
You should put on ladies' underwear and go as Chris Collinsworth.
Yeah, that was you went a little too far. I'm gonna unsubscribe now from the show. A little too far. At least you didn't call me an idiot. 2 games into the World Series. What are your thoughts?
Well, a wild 2 games for sure. We have a broken leg on a line drive. We've got him pitching out after that. The Braves bullpen was awesome in game 1. I mean, awesome. Then, of course, Houston's offense wakes up in game 2. The stat they showed last night, Houston's already won as many games as anyone in history in a postseason by 5 or more runs. It's just like their offense is so good at times. I mean, my thought is that the Braves gave themselves a real chance by winning one of these in Houston, but I just think their offense is too much. The Braves lose their ace. But the Braves have been the Braves have lost a lot of guys this year and still have gotten this far, and they're playing exceptionally well. I still think the Astros come out on top, but as much as I hate the Braves, I'm kind of still rooting for like a good World Series. Like I'd love to see a game 7, you know?
Yeah. Did you see that stat on Jose Altuve?
The second most homers in postseason history.
It's nuts to think that.
Yeah. Now, all the guys on that list are obviously wild card era. I think he passed Bernie Williams, not known as a superb power hitter, but a guy who hit, a fair amount of homers in his days and played in a ton of playoff games. I think the only guy above him is maybe Manny, obviously a power hitter who played in a lot of playoff games.
They should have posted. Smoltz said this. I want to see at bats.
Yeah.
It's not like the Astros have been in a shit ton of postseason games.
Right.
I mean, they've been in a fair amount.
Yeah, the Astros have been a lot. I mean, not as many as like those Yankees teams, but also, I bet anything a like home runs per at bat thing. Like I'm sure the Mantles of the world are up there. Guys who back in the day. The guys on that list who didn't play in the wild card era are like, I'm sure have crazy amounts of homers.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's shaping up, like you said, that first game's huge, shaping up for a good 6 or 7 game series.
I hope so. As much as I hate the Braves and would love to watch them lose like the next 3 straight and be done. I'm hoping for a good series.
Yeah. I like seeing the roof open.
Yeah, it's great.
Right.
And apparently it was very rare for them this time of year, right? Was it a strategic roof opening?
Is that what they said, that it's rare?
Yeah. Yeah, very rare.
Is it still hot down there?
I think, obviously the weather's okay.
Yeah. Remember how turnt you got that night we went to the Astros game?
And the roof opened?
No, it didn't. No, but I should have fucked with you and see if you thought it did.
No, it did. It did open post game. You don't remember that? Yeah. That's why I was fucking so turnt. I was turnt because I was all boozed up. But remember they opened it post game?
They did?
Yeah. And it was amazing.
Bro, you were next level. How many shots did the DirtBalls buy you?
Oh, that was like post game.
That's when we had that Airbnb at that. Where was that? So much happened that night. That was the infamous Airbnb. Then that was
the infamous Airbnb that was like in a garage, decorated with like African knickknacks.
But she was in the hood too. It was a white woman.
Yeah. And
Nick said,
Nick went Houston strong and flooded their bathroom. Came out like a scene from, Beethoven, just sopping wet, and then just shook it out in the middle of the room. And we were like, what are you doing? He's like, what do you mean? This is how you shower. And we were like, you get out of the shower while it's still on and you're soaking wet and you just stand in the middle of the room without a towel on.
Oh my God, dude.
What world is that when people shower? He's like, dude, I don't know. He's like, this is how we shower before we go out on a fucking Friday for the Monday Halloween.
You dropped a Beethoven. I'd say of all the references of the show, you dropped a Beethoven dog reference from the movie. That's unbelievable. I can't stop laughing. And no, I'm not high. Everyone's was Ruther high. I'm not high. Oh my God. I'm crying. Beethoven. I want to rewatch that. I'm glad you brought that up.
Charles Grodin, rest in peace.
Yeah. I think they made 2 of those, right?
I think they did. Beethoven's second, I believe, was the. I bet you they made more than 2.
You know what's great is to go. I think it's great to go back and watch some of those movies or TV shows when you're a lot older. I was talking with somebody the other day, and here's another one I want to go back and watch. We were in hysterics laughing, thinking about it. The whole premise of Perfect Strangers. Like what's the premise again? So he's living with this foreign guy in a country
His
that doesn't.
cousin.
Oh, that's his cousin.
Cousin Balky. Yeah, come on.
And that lasted more seasons than you would think. That lasted like 5 or 6 seasons.
Yeah, I remember when they upgraded from like an apartment to a house.
I almost think that's a whole YouTube weekly series or podcast. But I think it's funnier
It's like
if you get
it's like those 2 black kids who like hear music for the first time. Have you ever seen those guys?
no.
Oh, it's the best, Andy. You got to find these dudes. They literally just like people send them suggestions and then they'll listen to shit.
Wait, is it the guys that just in front of the white wall?
I don't know, but it's like 2. I think they might be brothers. The 2 black kids, they literally like listen to music for the first time and they're like, oh shit. Like I saw another one the other day where they listened to like Ice Ice Baby for the first time. And they're watching the video on YouTube and finally he appears and they're like, yo, this dude's white. I thought this dude was a brother the whole time. There's one where they watch Jolene by fucking Dolly Parton.
Okay.
Incredible. And it's just like it's awesome to see dudes like for the very first time.
Is it the same guys who used to watch Bill Burr's stand-up or different stand-up?
I don't know.
What's their channel called? Do you know?
I felt like we like did this on the show before.
I think I know who you're talking about. I just think it'd be a funny weekly series if like a couple guys, especially if they were smoking.
Their YouTube is Twins the New Trend.
Let me see if it's the same guys, I think. Oh, these are 2 different black dudes. That's funny though. I love that premise. But don't you think it'd be fun if like you go back and you watch, and I think not that it has to be involved, but I think just like a little weed or something, you smoke a little weed and you watch Perfect Strangers and you break it down, or you watch Beethoven and you break it down.
Problem Child.
Oh my. Another RIP, man.
Who's dead in that one?
John Ritter.
Oh, right. Yeah. I was like, was it Gilbert Godfrey? He's alive.
Dude, they made like 3 Problem Childs.
Yeah.
That's what Hollywood needs to go back to, man.
That's what Hollywood is, Andy. Literally, if a movie has anything, they greenlight sequels before they even happen now.
I know, but they're like trying to push so much messages, and it's like, dude, just make a shitty movie where like they can't control a kid and just call it Problem Child. Make a movie about a giant Saint Bernard and call it Beethoven. Like these are such basic ideas, and they're funny. I don't even know how we got on this discussion. There's like so much sports I want to discuss, and we're going down all these goddamn rabbit holes. Did you see the Russell Westbrook reaction on the Darius Bazley dunk?
Yes.
Can we talk about that for a quick minute?
Sure.
I'm curious what you think.
I mean, I think that was it seems as though, standard, but I just feel like basketball, like the idea of talking about unwritten basketball rules is kind of like ridiculous. Like, they're a young team. The guys I understand. It's like, I think there was a second and a half left or whatever. So it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But I don't know. Just seems like this isn't baseball. It's not really like I feel like everything about basketball, guys like screaming in each other's faces and like, Mutombo doing the thing. It's like all the stuff in baseball, like don't pimp home runs, don't show up guys. Like the entire NBA is like showing up each other.
Yeah.
So
it's a good point.
I don't know. I mean, I get that. Like, why do you need to do that when the game's over? But also the dude is 22 or whatever.
21. Like, yeah. I'll read Russell Westbrook's quote in case anybody doesn't know what happened. The Lakers blew a 26-point lead.
Did you see the stats Sports Center showing 230 games or something like that? They've never blown a 25-point lead.
I didn't see that. Yeah, so the Lakers blew a 26-point lead.
30-0 in like the last 25 seasons or something like that.
Russell Westbrook had a quadruple double. 10 or more points, 10 or more assists, 10 or more rebounds, and 10 or more turnovers. So Westbrook said, how I played the game, I'm more old school. And when shit like that happens, I don't let it slide. In the game of basketball, there's certain things you just don't do. Like in baseball, you don't flip the bat. There's certain things you don't do in sports when the game's already over. And I didn't like it. Simple as that.
Yeah. I don't know. Just seems like he's a little bit butthurt about blowing the lead.
Yeah, I agree.
I got to say, during the game before, they played back-to-back. They won against San Antonio, and they were up big in that game. I was like, you know what? This is what I thought this Lakers team could be, which is on a random Wednesday night in the middle of the season, LeBron can sit both games of a back-to-back, and Russell Westbrook and Anthony Davis can get you wins, which obviously they did on Tuesday. They were on the cusp of doing yesterday, but like, that's what I think this Lakers team, that's the one thing about this Lakers team that I do like. I still don't like the Westbrook edition from a chemistry standpoint in terms of winning a championship. Yeah. But they'll like keep LeBron healthy because I can win games on my own with Anthony Davis. If they can get that sorted, be a nice thing to have for them.
I think it's a big if. I mean, you can't be turning the ball over 10 times a game.
No.
Come on. I know it's back to back. You're playing OKC. By the way, Bazley, he's a Cincinnati kid. He's hometown.
Probably a big Bengals fan.
Probably is. 21 years old. He went from Cincinnati to Utah. That's an interesting move, huh? For college?
Where he played at Utah?
Yeah, I think he played for just 1 year. And he was a first-round pick. But, right? Like, how'd that happen? How do you go from here to Utah?
He was like, they got Applebee's? I'm in.
You're that is talk about a hill dying on. There like aren't Applebee's here.
Fancy like Applebee's on a Bengals win night.
Honestly, like now that I lived back here for a year now, you just like Applebee's aren't like you could use so many other ones, but you couldn't use Applebee's.
What do you think the closest Applebee's to you is? I mean, it's within 10 miles, right?
I'll look it up. I bet it's in Eastgate. It is. Ooh, or is it there? Okay, so
is it the one? Or is it there?
There's one in Kentucky. Let's see here. One in Kentucky, 6.3 miles away. I mean, that's not even Ohio. I'm just saying.
I mean, it's the greater Cincinnati area.
No, I know.
Is there another one within 10 miles of you that's also in Ohio?
The next one's 11 miles away.
Okay, just outside of my range.
But I'm just saying, like, there's a lot more other stuff. Like, if you said Buffalo Wild Wings.
I've been to a Buffalo Wild Wings in Cincinnati.
You have. That's right. Got in a huge debate with my buddy over Buffalo Wild Wings.
What was the debate?
Well, have you ever been to Buffalo Wings and Rings?
Buffalo Wings and Rings?
Yeah.
No.
It's like
literally never even heard of it until right now.
Okay. It's another chain. And so it was founded in Cincinnati. So there's a fair amount of those as well. And he was just saying how much better he thinks it is. And I'm like, it doesn't have the variety. A lot would argue the food is better, though, because it's not as big of a chain. Mm-hmm. It's more of like a local Ohio thing. But I was like, dude, really?
I mean, to me, it's like wings. There's I can think of 2 or 3 places in my lifetime that I've been like, these wings are standout. I've also had 2 or 3 places in my lifetime where I was like, these wings are the most garbage I've ever had. Most wings, I mean, they're wings. They're deep fried. They're covered in sauce. It's like, unless your meat is like garbage or exceptional, you're in the middle. I have a feeling wings and rings and things isn't like 4-star chicken.
Yeah, I'm looking at 56
so now
locations.
All I care about is the sauce,
Yeah.
And the atmosphere. Is wings and things and rings? Do they have like TVs and they go the whole sports bar thing?
It's the same thing. It's plastered in TVs.
Listen, I mean, I'll give it a shot. Now, are they wings and rings and things and they have Asian zing? Now that's really the.
Who knew? I'm looking it up on Wikipedia. Apparently, they have 56 locations. They even have some in Europe and the Middle East now.
Wow.
Buffalo Wings and Rings.
Now, this is, I assume, a Buffalo wing spot that's also like a gymnastics place where you like your kids play on the rings.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's definitely not as many options in the wing category. They have more other, like they would have more food options.
Yo, I'm not going to Buffalo Wild Wings to get a burger.
Yeah. And I did that last time, actually. Last time I went to watch a Reds game with my buddy, I was like, I'm just not in the mood because I was hell bent on, that's the thing. I was hell bent on, I was making a stand. I was hell bent on Buffalo. I was on BW3s. And then I was like, dude, I'd rather have just BW3s wings. And
then you're saying wings and rings and things?
I'm getting confused right now. All these damn places. I don't know. But
we all know when you get back into the dating scene, though, Applebee's on a date night, dog.
You're out of your mind.
That 2 for $20.
It's funny you said. I found my mom had so many gift cards. She had a book of them that she kept.
She collected them like trading cards.
She did. And I'm like, why? Like, and she would write like $20 left, $22 left. There's so many.
You should just like put them all together in one and like go hard one night. Go on the Joanne chain restaurant crawl with your brothers.
But a lot of them are like nice spots too. It's not just crappy. There are the BW3s. Those are on there, but there's like some nice spots too. Yeah, I don't know. All these gift cards. I should do it. Did you see the guy? Enough people sent me that. Did you see the guy who, for years,
ate at Six Flags?
Magic Mountain out in California?
Ridiculous. I mean, I know guys who were like that, like post college, like they had their
story.
They had their like live cheap strategy, but that's next level. This guy's leaving his office on a lunch break and going to a fucking amusement park, getting a corn dog. Also, what this guy traded, like he's all the money he saved, he's gonna have to use on
healthcare,
open heart surgery.
Yeah. So if you guys
just having fried dough for lunch, it's not a lunch, my man.
Yeah, if you guys didn't see this, Six Flags offers $150 unlimited meals for the year.
That's crazy.
And he was out at the Six Flags location in Magic Mountain, which is I don't know how many miles outside of LA is that?
I mean, yeah, it's in like
40, 50 miles.
Yeah, not even.
Yeah, not even. Regardless, like right out there when you start getting to the desert. And the article was saying he could see the Six Flags from his office, like you're saying. He would leave for his lunch breaks. And he talks about all the money he saved over the years. But again, imagine having to eat that. He ate there twice a day for years.
Ridiculous.
Years. It's pretty disgusting. You know what's not disgusting, Joe? Miller Lite.
It's the opposite of disgusting.
I know. We're talking about
and rings and things and Buffalo Wild Wings and Applebee's and a fancy restaurant. I don't care where I'm going. I don't care if I'm eating at the fanciest restaurant in all of the land. My first question, can we get you something to drink to start? Yeah. Do you have Miller Lite?
Yeah. That's one thing I will give Cincinnati. Miller Lite is the dominant beer here. No questions
Love
asked.
to hear it.
And I'll give it to the Cincinnati Bengals. That's the main beer at Bengals games. It's Miller Lite. They got Miller Lite advertisements. That's the main beer you're going to get if you go to a Bengals game. Is there anything better, Joe, than to go to a nice fall football game? Grab some Miller Lights with your friends, watch a little pigskin?
Absolutely not.
Right? Guys, if you like beer and you're sick of all these other gimmicks and all these other, seltzer type drinks and all this other stuff, if you're sick of that, then just drink a Miller Lite. It's been the original light beer since 1975. Miller
not a
Lite
pretender here, not a faker, not a copycat. They said, "What about a beer that's light?" And people are like, "What are you talking about?" They're like, "Don't worry, we're gonna get in the lab and come up with something." And then every other beer who we shall not name was like, let's just take our beer and pour water in it and compete with Miller Lite. That's not what they did. They invented light beer.
They did. Miller Lite.
I know right away, Andy, how much I can trust somebody based on their reaction to me drinking Miller Lite. If they're like, "Oh, you're just like, you don't even know the history. You don't even know what you're talking about."
Yeah. It's very true. Such a rich history.
Being a beer snob and not respecting the original light beer. How dare you?
Yeah.
I'm a beer snob that I drink Miller Lite every day.
Miller Lite, great taste, 96 calories. That's it. So go to MillerLite.com/dirty sports to find delivery options near you. Or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. It's Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. Okay, we're talking about the history of Miller Lite. Before we get to NFL picks, we got to discuss. I know everybody doesn't want to. I don't want to go on forever, but I do want to delve into some things about the Cincinnati Bengals and some of what I would call surprising blowback from Bengals fans that, in my opinion, are the most sensitive. Some of you are the most sensitive fans I've ever encountered in almost 8 years. Almost 8 years of doing dirty sports with you. Multiple people, whether it's Twitter or Reddit, told me they were going to unsubscribe from our show, Joe Prano, because I called Bengals fans idiots.
Well, I saw two references to this, one on Twitter and one on Reddit. First of all, I think it's the same person.
Probably right.
Masquerading as two different people. Second of all, listen, I don't even think calling Bengals fans idiots is real. Like, I almost feel like there's two different things here. Like, I'm still a Knicks fan. And, I will never not be a Knicks fan. I've talked a lot about what they would have to happen, and some of it happened, and I still didn't quit. And then they brought the Nets to Brooklyn, and I lived in Brooklyn for a long time. I didn't quit. And, there's definitely honor in sticking with it. But I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot for being a Knicks fan still.
Well, thank you. And again, the way that feeds into my argument, and I was an idiot for a long time. And it doesn't mean every sports fan, every base has idiots. We'd agree. I mean, how critical have we been on some of the other fan bases? And especially bases who don't know what they're talking about.
See, I feel like there's so many layers to this from other Bengals fans who just are never going to give up no matter what happens. They just are ride or die local, they eat their wings and things. They go to their Bengals games, they sit on the shores of the Ohio River and look at Chris Collinsworth's house, figuring out which is the men's room, which is the ladies' room. These are the things that Cincinnatians do.
Well, let's not forget. What did I say last episode? Again, I think people, when they get worked up, they do want to cherry pick. I said verbatim last episode, if you're the fan who just loves the tailgate, loves to go down to Paul Brown Stadium, it's a fun thing to do. Dude, I got no problem with that. You get away from your wife and kids or vice versa. I got no problem with that. My critique was of the fans who's like, this year's different. But my critique has been, how many times are we going to do this? That's my critique.
But so the flip side of that argument also, though, is like, you didn't, your problem was with ownership, and they don't have an outside thing, and they don't honor their players, and they treat their players like shit and whatever. And it's like, but you also had to witness a playoff loss in person to get motivated to leave.
You're right.
You have a 2005 Carson Palmer jersey on that you bought, not with a Joanne gift card, with money.
You're right. And
so it's like everybody has their own bar. And, I would argue it took you maybe longer than it should have. And some people would say, oh, you bailed early.
Sure. And I think that's a fair point. I'm not going to argue that. I reached my point. You're right. Witnessing that playoff game. And it goes deep with the Ruther family. And I think I should explain that. I mean, my brother and I made a decision after that game. We were done. My dad, rest in peace, Walt Ruther, he battled for years. I mean, I've had him on the show. He used to have season tickets. He used to travel to Pittsburgh. He used to travel to Cleveland. He used to do all those things.
But my argument would be the butterfly effect of, if they had won that game, you could potentially still be a fan, even though the issues you have with the team wouldn't have changed.
Sure. And that's a valid point. I mean, here's something we have to laugh
about. So it's
about.
Almost like you gave up because of the losing, not because of the treatment and the blah, blah, blah.
Well, no, it was a combination of all those things. And I'll play a clip here, which to me sums up, the ownership. And people can say what they want. And that's where Bengals fans get so defensive. And I'll just say, I did a deep dive last night. I got too much time on my hands, and people are leaving calls about it, and we'll get, we'll go through all this. But, my response is, the numbers don't really lie as far as the futility. And to be honest, I didn't even realize, even before he took over for his father, how bad it was. And the funniest part of all this, we talk about the Andy Ruther curse on this show. This is actually hilarious. Let's not forget, my father, Walter Ruther, bought this very house that I am living in from a former Bengals coach who had just been fired. Dude, think about the layers to this. Bill Johnson was the Cincinnati Bengals coach from, let me pull it up. I have it already. He coached the Cincinnati Bengals 76, 77, and 78. He went exactly 22 and 22. So it wasn't terrible.
And when does your dad buy the house?
He buys the house in 1979.
Okay. So they have playoff wins post house.
They do. They made 2 Super Bowls post house.
Yeah.
But you have to think it's pretty funny. This guy gets fired. And I found some cool old stuff. I found like the original of how, when they were trying to sell the house, there's this cool painting of a tiger that was in the TV room. You know, when they were showing the house, I still have that now here as I go through stuff in my parents' house. So my dad buys it from Bill Johnson. He's just been fired. He goes on to be an assistant at Tampa Bay and coaches for I don't know how many more years. You got to admit, it's pretty funny. Now I am living solo in this house. Is this the year the curse is broken? Does it come full circle?
I don't know. You've been very vehement that this is not the year it is broken.
I am vehement. In fact, I have now made another bet with our friend, comedian Justin Wood, who is a diehard Bengals fan.
He just texted us.
Did he?
Yeah, he just texted us and said, Andy, please never do a facts-only video about why Burrow isn't a top 5 player of all time. We need him. Calling you out for killing Kobe Bryant, essentially.
Unbelievable. Okay. I will play Justin's phone call because we've made a bet.
Yeah, this message is for Andy Ruther. Andy, Justin Wood here. Hey, pal. Just a quick question for you. I wanted to know if you wanted to take a spa day or if you want to do a Skyline buffet the day after the first round of the playoffs. If you want me to schedule that for you, since you won't be doing the podcast and I will be. So I just wanted to make sure that you have something to do that day, since you have no podcast plans now after that bet. Thanks, pal. Bye.
So here's the bet.
So the bet.
Justin has wagered $100 of his own money that the Bengals will win a playoff game this year. And if I lose, I do not get to do the show the Monday following playoff win.
So it's Justin's $100 to your seat on the podcast following that playoff game.
Correct.
If guys, just for those of you who don't know our friend Justin Wood, there's very few people on earth who I could say this about, but it'll actually become an even greater LeBron slurper episode. Justin Wood matching me in LeBron slurpingness. He's a Lakers fan now. I mean, he's even, he goes where LeBron goes.
He does. He really does.
That'll be exciting.
Yeah.
It'll be in January. It'll be in the thick of the basketball season. We'll just do Bengals and LeBron. Just be like an Ohio bonanza.
Yeah. He's very confident. Again, you said it yourself, and I agree with you.
TJ Hushmanzada Pro Bowl jersey. He had TJ Hushmanzada do a cameo for him for his fantasy league. He loves him some Bengals.
I think he has a Bengals tattoo.
I think he does. Yeah, I'm certain of it.
He has an Ohio State tattoo. Does he have a Bengals tattoo?
I think he does. He's got Bengals head covers on his golf clubs.
I mean, he is turned.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
He loves him some Bengals.
And obviously we both love Justin. Justin's great. But Justin's that guy who I'm like, bro, how many times are they going to do this to you? How many times is your wife going to cheat on you? And you're just going to let her back? because that's what the Bengals are. I finally gave up. I'm like, I'm sick of being cheated on. I'm done. And I had to do a deep dive.
And Justin also does have a history of blindly and recklessly following, following people into terrible situations. He's a vet after all. He's just like, yeah, what do you mean? What's wrong with the military? I'm in. I love Justin. He used to run great comedy shows all around the west side of Los Angeles. He's now in the Phoenix Scottsdale area. I can't wait to go visit him.
Yeah, Justin's great. I want to remind Justin though of some and Bengals fans real quick. I know you don't want to hear it. I had to look up. I went through I was a little possessed last night. I went through every single NFL team, all 32, their playoff history. The Bengals have 5 wins their entire playoff history. They started in 1968. They have the second fewest. The fewest playoff wins in the entire NFL history is the Houston Texans, who started in 2002 with 4. So let me just put that in context again. The Bengals have the second fewest wins in NFL franchise history at 5, and they started in 1968. Number 2 is Houston Texans, who started about 35 years later with 4. And I got to keep going here. The Jags, Panthers, and Ravens, which all started in either 1995 or 1996, all have more franchise playoff wins than the Cincinnati Bengals. Again, the Bengals had a 27 or 28-year head start. Make no mistake about it. As far as when it comes to playoffs, the Bengals and the Lions, like, it's them, dude. And it's no one else. Now, the Bengals have made 2 Super Bowls, so you could maybe argue that against like a Browns or some of these teams. And that's a fair argument. I'm not going to hate that. I'm just saying, like, this is where we're at with the Bengals. And obviously no playoff wins for 31 straight years. But I have to play this clip of his boy. It's even perfect.
Whose boy?
Justin Wood's boy.
Okay.
Hoosh.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys have ever heard this clip, and it's like a 3-minute clip. We can break it apart. It's one of the funniest clips ever. This is what the Cincinnati Bengals have had to deal with. And it's not just the fans. This shows the players of what they had to deal with. This is the clip that I keep in my back pocket anytime a Bengals fan starts running their mouth. And I'm like, this is who you're dealing with as the owner. So this is from 3 years ago. This is TJ Houshmandzadeh,
water or Gatorade,
on your boy's show. This is him on Colin Cowherd's show. So former Bengal wide receiver TJ Houshmandzadeh. So Justin Wood has a Pro Bowl jersey from Hoosh.
Yeah.
Amazing. So this is what Houshmandzadeh was describing when he played for the Bengals. And to put it in context, he was drafted in 2001.
I still can't believe, Joy, the Bengals didn't have water or Gatorade when you broke into the league. What did they have?
I don't even remember. We didn't have bottled water or Gatorade, and it was crazy because when we first got it, guys would be taking backpacks full of Gatorade home. And every day,
absurd. You were like in the Water Boy, like the literal movie, the Water Boy locker room with the bad water.
The year before I got there, Willie Anderson was telling me they didn't even have jock straps. They would get a bunch of used jock straps, throw them in the middle of the locker room, and say, "Here you go." So
Oh God, that is not.
Did you just say used jock straps?
Yeah, this is what I was told and Willie Anderson was a first-round pick. He said Willie Anderson. And I want to say, didn't they draft the running back from Penn State?
Oh, yeah.
John Carter?
Yes.
So they were the guys that had money because they're first-round picks, so they just went and bought a bunch of them and gave them to guys.
Okay, I'm going to pause it real quick. Guys, this is what we're dealing. Like, this is a comedy sketch. They were not giving jock straps or water or Gatorade? Do you realize what we are dealing with at an ownership level? Now, has it improved? Yeah, it's improved. But you can only go up from there. Let's continue with TJ Houshmandzadeh.
God, I can't even believe these stories.
Yeah.
If you're not giving players water and Gatorade, what were they giving you? Tea? Well, I mean, I'm hot. It's 80 out.
No, you could get water. You would just go to the fountain. Or you would get it at practice. Like, honestly, but it was once Marvin got there, he brought a level of professionalism and structure that it was like, okay, everybody stayed in hotels for every home game, every team I've been on. When I first got to the Bengals, we stayed at home. So as a rookie, you figure, oh, I was inactive last week. I'm going to be inactive this week. You'd go out. You'd go out and just go straight from the club to the stadium on Sunday.
God. I can't wrap my head around this stuff. This stuff
true.
is, I got to go home, take a
Story.
nap, and I have to understand all this stuff. Like, what you're saying doesn't make sense to me.
That's true story. I mean, my rookie year, we did not stay in hotels. We stayed at home for home games.
All right. Well, I'm going to change subjects because I can't get my arms around any of this stuff. That a professional football team 20 years ago did this. He's TJ Hushmanzada. I'm exhausted from that. I don't even know where. I mean, I don't even know where to go.
I mean, what are we talking about here?
Water fountain?
There's one last thing I want to play.
God.
You know what? I'm curious. Like, what did we do? I think guys would probably just bring stuff in.
Did you bring your own water to practice?
Like now, when you
Listen to this.
When we would have lunch in the cafeteria, they had water in there, but after lunch they locked it. And so leading up to practice, it was like you just wait till you go outside. Yeah.
So literally, you break the huddle. Who's going to 7-Eleven? No, that's not the route we're running. That's not the play. Who's going to 7-Eleven?
We would have water like. With the training staff, they'll get water. We'd have water out in practice.
Right.
But if you're just chilling in the locker room and you got thirsty and the cafeteria was locked, good luck.
Think about that. You're sitting in the locker room and you want a water.
Meanwhile, the Mavericks have PS5s in their lockers.
I mean, Joe, look, you're an unbiased guy. And I know this.
It's ridiculous. The hotel thing has always been something I think like, it's more of, you're like, oh, just so guys don't go out and whatever. Seems like a lot of money to spend every year just to make sure like guys don't get fucked up the night before games. But like it's standard.
Oh yeah, I don't care about the hotel thing as much, but like sharing jock straps.
I mean, that's ridiculous.
And
honestly, Andy, I'm gonna take a flip side of the coin. Like I'm almost impressed at how well the Bengals have done considering these things that they had to overcome.
That's a fair point.
I mean, they made playoff games. They were 8-0 one year. They were thirsty.
Literally.
Yeah. We give Andy Dalton a lot of shit. Do we ever think he's just dehydrated? and he's doing his 5-step drop and he's thinking about how his balls are rattling around because he didn't want to wear a used jockstrap. I've now gone the other way. I'm now impressed by the entire organization besides ownership.
Yeah.
I mean, they haven't been the Lions lately. The Lions have fucking water.
I can already see Bengals fans getting angry. Like
now, to continue the Bengals fans' anger with you, there's another clip that you need to play. It was posted on Dirty Sports. You need to go to our Dirty Sports Twitter. There's a clip up there that I need you to play.
Which clip?
It's the last tweet.
Oh, did you post something?
Yeah, we need this played.
Okay.
Just to update everybody on Andy Ruther's status. The Andy Ruther Bengals. Your revolt against the Bengals.
When was this?
Well, you'll see. You'll play
right.
it.
Wow. During the podcast, you posted a tweet.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Very savvy. I'll give you credit. Very savvy, Mr. Prano. Hats off to you. Okay, I'll play it. Bengals are going to bangle. And will I ever go to a game? No.
I call bullshit.
Never. Chargers are here this year.
I bet you go to a Bengals game next year.
Only if I'm paid.
A few moments later.
I will enjoy. I'm going to go to the Bengals Chargers game, and I'll be wearing Chargers gear. And I'll go. My buddy's flying in town from San Francisco. He wants to see the Niners in Cincinnati. I'll root for the Niners. Bengals are going to bangle. To be fair.
Shout out to Emiliano on the edit.
That's great, by the way.
To be a few moments later.
We were paid, right? I was paid.
You were?
Did you know that?
To go to the Chargers game and the Niners game?
Somebody paid $100. Don't you remember that?
I vaguely remember that.
Somebody paid $100 during one of our episodes, said you have to go to a game now. And I was like, well, and I don't even know it was via YouTube. I'm like, I don't even know how you return that. So, yeah. Well,
we went from never to 2 games.
Well, what am I supposed to say to my buddy? My buddy's like, dude, I'm flying in.
You're supposed to say, I said never, unless I'm dragged, kicking and screaming. Unless I'm brought in a Brinks truck full of money so that I can give it to the players so that they can buy their own bottles of water because I'm a freedom fighter.
That's funny, by the way. That's really well done. That was Emiliano?
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Well played, Prano. I mean, that is some, dude, you tweeted it out during the show.
I had it ready. And then right when you started getting on to the Bengals stuff, I was like, we'll send this out right now just so we have it here so he can.
Yeah.
I was like, what am I going to do? I'm going to play it. I don't have the setup. I asked Emiliano, I said, text it to me. I'll post it. What a great job, too. He put the Curb Your Enthusiasm.
That was great.
There.
That's top-notch work.
And by the way, he cuts off your early rant. I mean, you went on for a while about how you were absolutely not going to a game.
Yeah, it's pretty turned that night. I think literally later that episode, somebody donated $100. I'm almost positive it's that episode. Somebody's like, oh, you're never going to a game? Here's $100. Because I said, unless I'm paid. Here's $100. You're going to a Bengals game. Hey, man, if they're going to do it, they got their guy. I'm not going to disagree on that. You got Burrow. Now's the time. I get Cincinnati fans. This is the worst sports city the last 30 years, arguably. We need something. Between the Reds and the Bengals, we need something. And I know that's why Bengals fans get very hurt, but I have been hurt too many times personally. That until it changes.
Hurt people.
But I'm not trying to hurt anybody. I'm just trying to present facts. That's all I'm doing. And that's where everybody gets mad and they say, oh, you're a hater. Dude, I'm not a hater. And that funny clip that we play on Cowherd from TJ Hushmanzada, he's still the owner, guys. Everyone wants to argue. His daughters are running the show now. Oh, cool. His daughters with all their vast experience running NFL teams. Duke Tobin is the president of the team now. Cool. You know what his history is, by the way? Had to look that up last night. Duke Tobin, the guy supposedly calling the shots for the Bengals now, his dad, Bill Tobin, was the former GM of the Colts. He's the guy who did the infamous Mel Kiper Jr. back and forth when they drafted, I forget that one linebacker.
Right.
Duke Tobin has been working for the Bengals since 1999. All these other GMs had other jobs, dude, and they move organizations and they work their way up. It's classic Bengals. That's all I'm going to say. But hey, if you guys want a playoff game, I'm wrong, and I'll say I'm wrong. But until then, I got Goldberg. I got Justin Wood. Anybody else want to make any bets with me?
Ooh, get them while it's ripe.
Get them while it's ripe. Joe's right, because guess what? It's a long season, people. The Bengals might finish 14-3. They might finish 9-8. I don't know. Anything's possible. And you yourself said it, and I agree. I would not make any bets 7 games into a 17-game season.
Well, I mean, there's no teams matchup wise right now that I don't think could draw somebody that could beat them. No, there's no team. There's not a team in the league that, I don't think one of the 7 top teams could be. I mean, think about the AFC right now. I mean, we're talking about the Chiefs, maybe not being a playoff team. Let's say they do. Let's say they are a playoff team. It's not out of the realm of possibilities. They beat the 2 seed weekend 1. Same thing in that. I mean, you look at if the Cardinals keep playing the way they're playing, or if they don't, basically a Cardinals team or a Rams team has to be a wild card.
That's crazy to think. Crazy to think.
So like, I don't. Is there any team in the league that I don't think could lose to one in the NFC that I don't think could lose to one of those teams? Yeah, if the Vikings are the 7 seed, I'll take whoever they're playing. I'll take the 2 seed. Otherwise, Packers could beat anybody. Bucks could beat anybody.
Well, and that's all I'm saying. And that's my point. Is like, also, Joe, we know, you and I have followed football so long. We know how much things can change. We know how teams can go on a 4 or 5 game win streak. Conversely, a 4 or 5 game lose streak.
I mean, the Bengals are the 1 seed right now.
They're looking good.
Vegas is 2, and they'd play Cleveland in a first round matchup. Anybody could win that game. Chargers, Tennessee, anybody could win that game. Buffalo, Baltimore, anybody could win that game. Tampa Bay would play Minnesota. I would take Tampa Bay. That's the only game I'd be like, they'll kick the shit out of Minnesota at home.
Yeah.
New Orleans, Green Bay would be the 6-3 seed. We already saw that game. They beat the shit out of them. Yeah. The Rams would be a wild card going into Dallas. I'll take the Rams right now, but Dallas could win. There's just like the idea of betting like just straight up on a team winning a playoff game right now. There's very few that I would say.
And that's why I'm welcoming any bets. And
but I like that the Bengals fans are getting in there for it. Let's go.
Let's bring it. 5-2, great
if you're
start.
A Bengals fan and you got to bet with Andy Ruther, you almost, financially, you almost want them to be the 2 seed and play a wild card team. But obviously, as a fan, you really want them to be the 1 seed and have a bye.
Most likely they'll make the playoffs. I would argue the Bengals. They would have to have a meltdown. But, you never know what can happen. And that sucks because they don't make the playoffs. That's the easiest money I've ever made in my life because there is no game.
Right.
Let's get into the games. Let's do that.
Let's do it.
Week 8 is here. Wow. We're almost halfway through. Tonight's game has been soured with some injuries or COVID protocol, whatever you want to call it. It kind of stinks. Packers at Cardinals. Packers don't have Devontae Adams. They don't have Lazard, correct?
Yeah. Lazard's out because he had close contact and is unvaccinated.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, here you go. Packers are 6.5-point underdogs on the road.
Woo!
It's a big spread. Do you want me to go first or you?
Sure, you can go first.
Okay. I know he doesn't have his guys. That's where Aaron Rodgers shines, in my opinion. I mean, he's that good of a quarterback. I think they keep it close. I think the Packers cover.
I do too. Simply on Aaron Rodgers prime time factor, Thursday night factor. Thursday night game's always wonky. Yeah, it could be wonky and it could be a 30-0 Cardinals blowout. It could also be wonky and this is the game that they get caught and they lose 30-0. So 6.5, that jumps solely on receivers. I mean, I know
it's moved a lot, Joe. It was like 4.5.
I know
now it's up to 6.5.
And I understand that, but get on FanDuel and get what's that tight end's name?
Robert Tonyan.
Get your Tonyan over. Get your Tonyan money line touchdowns. Right? This is just what Aaron Rodgers does, right? He's like, oh, you guys know this guy? No? Well, you're about to.
I mean, he has a entire career of that, of taking guys you've never heard of or taking guys and marching to a Super Bowl victory. Remember how many injuries? I think people, they had so many, they were depleted in 2010 when they went that Super Bowl run.
Yeah.
But he's that good. I agree. And I think LaFleur is smart enough to make a game plan also to try.
I think it could go, this game could go anyway, and it'll be an exciting game. It's a great matchup for a Thursday night. We finally get like two good teams.
Yeah.
But yeah. 6.5 seems a lot to me.
Yeah. All right. So we're on board there. Miami travels to Buffalo. Bills are 13.5-point favorites here on FanDuel.
It's too big again. Division matchup. I'm going to go Miami. And I hate this Miami team. And I hate their quarterback situation. And I think that they're making their quarterback situation even worse than it could be. Like, talk about mishandling your quarterback situation. Giving it to Tua, and now also totally making it obvious that you're trying to replace him. I hate this. Yeah. I hate this Miami team. But division game, 13.5, too much.
Yeah, I agree. That was a spread I couldn't believe. It's just too much. To me, it says backdoor cover written all over it. Now, I wouldn't be shocked if the Bills blow them out of the water. But I think Miami's good enough to stay within that 13.5 striking distance.
I don't even know if Miami is good enough for that, but I just think it's one of those games where it's like, oh, Sunday, 1 p.m. division game. Like, I'd count on those being close more often than they're not.
Yeah. All right. Panthers travel to Atlanta, where the Falcons are 3-point favorites. I'm up first here. Atlanta has been, I feel, a thorn in both of our sides for years now on this show. It goes back to Mike Smith.
Tivas.
And his Tivas on Hard Knocks around like 2014, 2015, whenever that was. Panthers have lost 4 in a row. Falcons are winning games. They're winning, ugly games against bad teams. This is such a tough call for me. Is Christian McCaffrey back?
I don't believe so.
I'm going to look that up real quick. Because if he is, okay, he's probably not back. I'm going to go with Atlanta. I don't like it, but I'm going to do it.
I'm going to go with Atlanta, too. It just seems like the Panthers are in a tailspin. They benched Darnold, but now they're bringing him back again. The no confidence, look for the guy you're doing. I mean, this is the same as the others. They're in the Watson mix. I'm going to go with Atlanta.
Okay.
All right. Make up any games doing this.
Yeah, we'll I'm sure we'll get some differences. Next up, the Eagles travel to Detroit. The Eagles are 3.5-point favorites. Ooh, that's another tough one, Joe.
Maybe I'll pick up a game here. I'm taking you did it a couple weeks ago against your Bengals. I'm doing it against the Eagles, and Nick Sirianni talking about flowers and roots. The Lions get their first win. I think that
Joe,
taking the Lions to cover.
You're going to hate this. That's exactly what I was going to say. I think the Lions get their first win this week.
Here's some of the Eagles. Obviously I hate the Eagles. And obviously I don't want this because I actually think Jalen Hurts is bad. I think he's bad. I hope he's their quarterback forever. I hope I hope they give him like a Mahomes deal. Have you noticed this? Have you noticed a weird media love of Jalen Hurts? People defending him and saying don't believe what your eyes are telling you. He's a good quarterback. What is that about?
I don't know.
An Alabama thing? Is it a black QB thing? Is it a Philly thing? I'm actually asking. I can't.
I bet you. I would argue I've probably fallen into that.
I can't understand how somebody watches it and thinks he's good.
I've defended him a lot. Maybe I just want to see more. I don't know how many games he started. I mean, right now,
even I think he's bad, and it's fine if you're like, well, I need to see more or whatever. But I have seen a trend, and maybe it's just because I'm a Giants fan and I can't believe that, these like Eagles, Cowboys, Washington things catch my eye. But like, there are people who are doing the Wentz thing where it's like, yeah, but what if this? It's like the Eagles, like he has weapons, and they're like they should be better than this, and they're not, because he's really not good. It just seems like such a low grade offense too. It seems so vanilla and so like it seems like they don't trust him.
Yeah. They do look bad. Usually for 3 quarters. I think the Lions have to get a couple wins, and I agree. I think it's this week. And I'm sure they'll burn us again. Eagles looked really bad last week.
Well, they haven't burned me yet. I haven't been burned by the Lions until now, potentially. I've been riding the Lions stink train pretty hard.
Next up, we have an AFC South battle. Colts are at home to face the Titans, where they are 2-point favorites. Everybody's riding high on Indy. Therefore, I'm going to take Tennessee, who has looked great the last few weeks.
The Colts are 2-point favorites?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Well, then I'm taking the Titans.
All right. Another pick we have together, Joe. Not a different pick yet. This is unusual. Okay. We might have a few coming up. The Rams are 14.5-point road faves at Houston. They didn't cover last week, the big spread. You didn't like it.
I didn't like it last week, and they didn't cover it. This week, I like it. This week, they cover. Matt Stafford returns to his home state of Texas. They're going to be talking a lot about he was Kershaw's catcher, and Kershaw was his center, and we're going to do the whole Texas thing. I like the Rams to
Stafford was a catcher?
I think he was. Well, I know what's his name was his like center. Kershaw was like his center.
No, it was not.
I swear to God, it's something like that.
Kershaw did not play center in high school football.
I think he did.
That's wild. All right. Well, I'm going to agree with you. I took the Rams last week to cover, but I've been successful. I keep whoever the Texans play, I take the other team to cover, and it's worked for weeks now. So I'm not going to deviate from that right now. I'm going to take the Rams to win and cover. Texans are just a straight dumpster fire organization right now. Deshaun Watson is just sitting at home, getting paid, getting massages. It's unbelievable. Okay. Cincinnati Bengals. I have to bust out this for them. First ever Andy Ruther Bengals jersey.
Boomer. I mean, honestly, you got to kind of be a boomer to own a boomer jersey.
Yeah.
This jersey, boomer.
My first Bengals jersey. Yeah.
Here's the thing. Well, no, it's your pick.
So shout out to my mom for keeping all this stuff. I think I was around 6 or 7 when she gave that to me. Okay, I'll say what I'm going to say. The Jets have a backup quarterback. It's on the road. The Bengals are looking great. There's no denying that. This is definitely a trap game as far as the spread. The Bengals are going to win this game. Knowing my luck, they won't. I'm already picking the Bengals in Survivor. This is the week I'm picking them. I'd be shocked if the Bengals lost this game, but knowing my luck, they will. So the Bengals are going to win this game. This could be a game where it stays close, though. But I'm going to ride the Bengals. The way their offense is looking, I got to ride them to beat the Jets.
See, this is the thing. Last week, it was a 2-game swing because you came out and said, I'm going with the Bengals. And I was like, all right, fuck it. Well, I'm going to play your weakness and go against your Bengals. But you were riding the Bengals. You believe in the Bengals. I mean, you can make all the playoff bets you want, but you believe in the Bengals. This is 2 weeks in a row. You believe. You believe they can beat arguably the best team in their division the last few years, and you believe they can blow out bad teams.
I believe the Cincinnati Bengals have a really good team right now in the regular season, but you and I both know this. The regular season doesn't mean anything. That's where it all comes back to for me. The Bengals have put out squads in the last 15 years during the regular seasons. But for some reason, they melt come playoff time. I don't know what it is. So, yeah, dude, does this team look really good right now? I am not going to deny. Obviously, I took them last week. I'm taking them this week. But again, playoffs are all that matters in any sport. Joe, how many people, you're a New York Giants fan. I hate when people say, oh, they won that at 9-7, and then they won that other Super Bowl at 10-6. It doesn't matter. They played well when they had to. No one brings up the 14-2 San Diego Chargers team. No one brings that up because they lost right away.
I bring them up when I'm discussing Eli Manning versus Phillip Rivers.
Sure. But that's my point.
I'm also taking the Bengals.
Okay.
I just think the Jets are bad and the Bengals are good, and I don't see them. I just think this is an easy week for both of them to prove that.
Sure. All right. You're up first in this next one. We'll stay in the AFC North. The Browns are at home against the Steelers. Lots of injuries going on. I don't know Mayfield's status. He's questionable. Last I looked, the Browns are 3.5-point favorites.
I'm going to stick with the Browns regardless of who's at quarterback. I think the Steelers are bad this year. The Browns have some injuries, but the Steelers still aren't good. The half-point hook scares me because of the division factor and because these two teams know each other so well. And the Steelers, this would be a classic game for Steelers to like win and hang around. But I'm riding my now 2-year-old prediction that the Steelers are done for.
Yeah. I'll do a different pick here. I think the Browns win. It's that half point, man. I'll say the Steelers keep it close enough, but lose. All right. The Niners travel to Chicago, where the Niners are 3.5-point favorites. The Bears have looked terrible. I think the ship has sailed. They are just lost at this point in the season, the Bears. I'm going to go with the Niners to win and cover. I picked the Bears last week to cover a 35-point. They were 35-point underdogs to the Bucks. And I was like, well, the Bears will score 6 points. And no, they scored 3. I'll never pick the Bears again. Yeah. 12.5, but hey, we'll jump up to 35. Yeah. I just, the way they're playing, I just can't do it.
I'm with the Niners.
All right. So we both got the Niners. The Jags travel to Seattle. Poor Seattle. These last 2 games, they're just right. They're right there, but they don't have a quarterback. They're 3.5-point favorites against the Jags.
3.5-point favorites. They've been right there with the Steelers, and then they were right there with who they play last week?
Saints.
So not like exceptional teams, but certainly better than the Jaguars. That being said, I just think that's the game that they're going to play. Whoever they play with Geno Smith, it's going to be a close game, and I don't like them under pressure. I'm taking the Jaguars. I don't know if I'm taking the Jaguars to win this game, but I'm taking the Jaguars to go in and a Jaguars team playing a Seahawks team close tells you everything about the state of the Seahawks. I'm taking the Jags.
Seahawks. Here's a fun fact. The Seahawks have not won a home game this year. They're 0-3. And I was leaning towards that same pick because of all the reasons you said. They're it's like at the end of this game, like Geno Smith last week, he gets the ball with a minute. Like, it's not crazy situation. Like, dude, you got a minute, drive down, get a field goal, tie, send into overtime. Like, he can't do that. I just think they're lost. And I think somehow the Jags cover this spread for that reason. Or win. I wouldn't be shocked if they win.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to the later games.
That was a later game, but yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Continuing with the later games.
Continuing with the later games.
Moved on to.
The Patriots travel to LA to face the Chargers. Michael Majid will be attending the game.
Nice. Will he be attending with your tickets?
He will, him and his father.
It's exciting.
Will they be in costume? It's an October 31st game.
Right.
Michael will go as a giant.
Yeah.
You already know I'm going with this.
He's like, give me the Fouts. And they're like, what? He's like, a gigantic helmet. I need a gigantic helmet.
I was going to say he's
old with the old 3-bar face mask. He's like, can I also get a chin strap full of salsa?
This is a tough one. I'm surprised by this one. The Chargers are 4.5-point favorites. They're coming off a bye.
Just see Majid at the fucking nacho stand with the helmet on. Jalapenos the mic. Jalapenos the mic. What do you got in this one?
Well, it's a tough one. I think 4.5's a lot, man.
Yeah, I agree.
It's too much for me. And again, the Pats, they're in all these games. This is a questionable spread. This is one of those, why is Vegas setting it at 4.5? The Chargers are 4-2. They're nothing. They're good. I got to go with the Patriots to cover this.
I'm on the fence with this one too. I'm going to go with the Chargers. I feel like the Chargers, I know the Pats are like the best 3-4 team. I also think the Chargers are like a really, really, really good 4-2 team. I mean, the losses that the Chargers have, they get blown out by the Ravens and the sneaky home loss to the Cowboys. I think they need a statement game. I think this could be their statement game. I like a Chargers win by a touchdown.
Okay. All right. The Washington football team. Washington, we won't disclose any investigation email team, is 3-point dogs at Denver. You're up first in this one.
In Denver scares me, but I just at this point, Denver fell off so quickly after playing so many bad teams to start the year. I'm not sure that they're a 3-point favorite, home, road, neutral, on the moon. I'm going to take Washington. I hate that. I'll be rooting to be wrong.
Okay.
I'd rather spend, I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And it costs me the whole thing. And I have to spend a day in IKEA because of it. I certainly will be rooting for the Broncos, but I think.
Look, I don't have a say in this one as far as I don't have a hard opinion. So to be the contrarian, I'll go against you. I'll take I'll take Denver. And a quick update. If you guys didn't see it, Roger Goodell claimed they will not release the report or the emails on the Washington football team. Mark Davis, Raiders owner, said he wants it released.
Well, of course, he had to low key fire his coach over it.
Yeah. A lot of the 40 of the women represented want it released. The NFL is claiming we're not releasing it out of the spirit of anonymity. Those women are saying we can still be anonymous and you can still release the report.
Yeah.
The NFL is playing serious hardball, and we'll see if Congress pursues a hearing. But that's where everything's at this point. It's unbelievable. All right, the Bucs travel to the Saints. The Bucs are 5.5-point favorites in New Orleans. The way the Bucs are scoring, I know the Saints have a really good defense. I just don't think Jameis Winston can. Jameis Winston Did they put up 13 points?
Yeah. This spread seems crazy to me. It feels like it should be 7.5.
Yeah. Was it 13-10, right? Monday Night Football game? Like,
yeah.
They look terrible.
Yeah.
Jameis Winston looked terrible.
Yeah.
Did you see that play where and Eli and Peyton were talking about it, where Sean Payton just said, what he said, you could read his lips. What were you thinking?
Yeah.
When they had the wide open Kamara.
Tight end screen.
Was it tight end? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he
just like took a sack.
Yeah. Or did something bad.
Yeah.
I think Jameis looks terrible. I just don't think they can score enough points to stay in this game. I'm going to go with the Bucs.
100% agree. It seems like a crazy low spread, which makes me think we'll probably be wrong. But
by the way, that was
what does Vegas know that we don't know?
That
It's in New Orleans. The Giants went into New Orleans and beat them.
Yeah.
In their only home game they've had this year.
That was a great broadcast, by the way. Eli and Peyton.
Oh, so good. So
Dude,
and Marshawn. Make Marshawn the official third. Make him an honorary Manning.
I mean, it's just the guests they're getting. It's just unbelievable.
I mean, Brady was great, but Marshawn was like next level.
Sure. It's just.
By the way, this as a guy who went to the Superdome just a few weeks ago, Halloween Day against the Bucs in the Superdome will be a fun thing to be at.
Oh yeah,
that'll be awesome.
There'll be some voodoo curses going on there. But I'll tell you what, man, that broadcast with those guys. I mean, Eli's hilarious. I don't know how many times I'm gonna say he's hilarious.
He's the best. And you know what? They have I was talking to Tug about this the other day. They have a technology problem, which they just got to get sorted. Like, dude, if you're ESPN, like send like a local guy to like
Eli's house. Yeah.
Not even Eli's. The guest is always like on a half a second delay. You know what I mean? But Eli is such a sniper. He's the only guy who still never talks over anybody, even though they're on a delay, because he's just sitting, waiting. He needs an extra second, and then he comes in. He's precise, and he's hilarious.
So great. Such a great broadcast.
Eli, 2 Super Bowl MVPs, a Walter Payton Man of the Year, an Emmy.
Ooh.
They'll be like, he was carried by the production team. Shut the fuck up.
All right, your Sunday night football game. Cowboys at Vikings. Cowboys are 1.5 point favorites. You know, the big key here is Dak and his calf.
The big key here, is this my pick?
Yeah.
The big key here is Kirk Cousins against a ball hawking defense in prime time Cousins. May as well have Andy Ruther.
Yeah, I got it.
We don't know what primetime Andy Ruther looks like. We know what primetime Kirk Cousins looks like. It's bad.
So we both agree. Cowboys.
Yes.
All right. And your Monday night game, it's your Giants at Kansas City. Wow, this is a big spread. Man, Vegas just keeps having faith in the Chiefs. Chiefs are 10-point favorites. I'm up.
You're up. First of all, before you make your pick, I believe Eli and Peyton will be calling this game, right? Like, how awesome is that? We get an Eli Giants game. Dude, the Chiefs, I can't pick them to cover until they show me differently. And this might be the week I'm burned, which is fine. I'm going with the Giants to cover. Wow. Can't believe this is happening. I'm going to take the Chiefs to cover.
Ooh, a little role reversal here.
Giants on the road. It's tough. I think that their defense looked really good last week, but it was against Carolina. It scares me that, I'd love to think that the Chiefs or the Giants defense finding themselves a little bit, but I also just think if there was ever a team that will get the Mahomes ball rolling, it'll be against my fucking team on Monday night where I have to watch them score 55 points. And the Giants lose, and the Giants don't cover because they lose 51-30.
Sure.
I kind of hope it's a shootout. Like even if the Giants lose, I kind of hope it's like, let's go. Let the offense go. But their only chance of beating the Chiefs is obviously to play a Mahomes, play the game that people have been playing with Mahomes lately and blitzing him and forcing the ball out of him. And whoever thought there'd be a game where Patrick Mahomes and Daniel Jones faced off, not early in the year, mid-year, and Mahomes has more turnovers.
Well, if they're going to right the ship, they better get started. All right, those are week 8 picks. Do we have time for a couple calls?
Sure. I don't know. I'm not on a time. We could do however many you can sneak in.
Yeah, let's do a couple calls. I'm on babysitting duty here in a bit. But let's we just talked Mahomes. Let's keep with the Mahomes call. And this is a scenario. We love scenarios in the show. 310-359-8365.
Here we go, yo.
That's the hotline. So give us a ring.
Hey, Joe and Andy, #1 DirtBall from South Bend, Indiana. Stephen Durr calling. Just want to see what you guys have to think about, or what you guys would think about this. If you guys had to choose between being in the position that the Packers are in, with Aaron Rodgers possibly having that possibility to leave, but him being one of the greatest quarterbacks and having that option that he might stay if you can make him happy, would you rather be that, or would you rather be the Chiefs right now with how Mahomes is playing and how committed they are with all the money and having just an absolutely horrible defense, but you still got Patrick Mahomes as long as he can perform better than he has been all season. Just want to see what you guys think. Thanks, guys. Stay dirty.
I guess he's basically saying future prospects, correct?
Yeah.
Or let's just say, how about we do this? Let's just say the next 2 to 3 years.
Okay. It's tough. In a vacuum, it's like 2 to 3 years from now. The thing about the Mahomes money, it was so much money that it's like it's still not going to be the deal. Like every deal is terrible, and then 3 years later it's better. And like the Mahomes, and I'm not saying the Mahomes deal is bad because he earned it, but it is hampering them. But I think just like, God, it's tough.
Okay, can I ask you this?
Yeah.
This is a better way to phrase it. Who has the better window to win a Super Bowl the next 2 to 3 years? I still think the
Chiefs have a better window to win the Super Bowl.
You do? Interesting.
Because I think right now, and this is going to we're going to have the I love to set off Bills fans lately, and I guess maybe your angry Bengals fans can join in the party or whatever, but like the NFC, I like this Packers team, and I love Aaron Rodgers. Everybody knows that about me. Rams, Cardinals, Bucks. Those are fucking 3 teams. You're going to have to play one of them. You're probably going to have to play 2 of them. I just think your chances of getting there are worse. And then once you get there, any given Sunday, I love Aaron Rodgers in a Super Bowl game against anybody on a random day. I just think the chances of Patrick Mahomes drawing, getting a 7 seed and drawing, or a 6 seed and drawing a kind of easy path where they just got to beat, whoever, and then a Bills team in an AFC championship game. So all those things considered, I'd kind of rather be the Chiefs, but really that money is such a factor, and Aaron Rodgers isn't going to command a 6-year deal.
Yeah.
At any point.
Well, you're right. The NFC is definitely so loaded. It's a gauntlet just to get through it. And I agree with you. I mean, no one's going to be shocked if the Chiefs finish. Let's say this Chiefs squeeze in at like 10-7.
Right.
and then they beat a Bengals team or a Ravens team and then a Bill, like no one's going to be shocked about that. I agree. Like I see your point of view there.
I mean, right now the Packers are 10-1 to win the Super Bowl, and the Chiefs are 12-1.
Interesting.
But the Bucks, Rams, and Cardinals are above the Packers, and just the Bills and just the Bills are above the Chiefs. Literally exactly what I said.
What are the Ravens? What are the Bengals?
The Ravens are equal, and the Bengals are 30-1. The Browns are ahead of the Bengals, the Chargers, the Titans, the Ravens, all ahead of the Bengals.
Interesting.
Raiders and Bengals are even.
Gotcha. This call's been sitting here for a minute. Let's get to it.
Hey, Joe and Andy. This is Nick D'Alessandro calling from Stamford, Connecticut, formerly of Ann Arbor, Michigan. And I just had a quick question for you guys. So who is an athlete that you guys were kind of taught to hate growing up, mainly as a kid, that maybe played for a rival team or something like that? But then as you kind of grew older and learned more about them, you kind of realized that the only reason why you hated them was because they were on that team. So you learned more about the person and you realized that you liked them. For example, I grew up in Ann Arbor, grew up a Michigan fan. Everybody kind of just taught me to hate Kirk Herbstreit because he went to Ohio State. But then I actually kind of learned about him, learned about his background, really enjoyed what he was doing. But I was like, oh, I actually kind of like this guy as I kind of became an adult. So I'm just kind of curious about your take on that. And yeah, as always, keep up the good work. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Off the top of my head, it's not even an athlete, but it's sports related. I'd say Joe Buck.
Okay.
Like everybody's like, Joe Buck sucks. I hate Joe Buck. And I probably said the same thing too. And I probably just was was a follower. But like as the years have gone on, I'm like, why is he so bad? Like I defend him now. I say, well, what do you hate so much? That's just the easy thing to say. I hate Joe Buck. Well, why?
Yeah.
What do you hate so much?
I've never really gotten the Joe Buck hate.
Yeah.
I think people just don't like seeing their team lose, and then whoever's calling, and then on a national level, they fucking hate it. For me, it's pretty easy because the Braves were such a thorn in the Mets side, especially in those 90s and the early 2000s years. The Maddox, Glavine, and then definitely Chipper Jones. The Larry chants, everybody, like the fucking Mets fans hate Chipper Jones. Chipper Jones is a pretty good guy. But definitely like the Maddox, Glavine obviously comes over, becomes a Mets fan favorite as well. Maddox, you hated him because he fucking shut you down all the time. But like, I grew to love him because he was so fucking good.
Yeah.
So good. The guy we mentioned earlier in the show, Bernie Williams. Bernie Williams and a guy who I hated, then liked, and then hated again, Girardi. Guys on the Yankees that I, came to like. Always liked Bernie Williams. Hard not to like Bernie Williams.
I couldn't stand Bob Huggins growing up because he coached, Xavier's rival, Cincinnati, and he always beat Xavier. Like he dominated Xavier. And then when he left and kept eating food, he turned into almost a character. I love him now. I love Huggins.
Yeah. The guy, when the guys leave and you get a fresh start with them too, like Reggie White. When Reggie White left the Eagles, I was like, oh yeah, love Reggie White. This guy's great.
Yeah. No, it's true.
When he was on the Eagles, I was like, I hope he has a heart attack. And now I'm like, oh shit, did I say that too many times when he was an Eagle?
Yeah. No, it's true. It's true. When a guy leaves and he's always beating your team or really good for another team that plays your team, I totally agree.
By the way, Nick
Troy Polamalu,
the second Nick D'Alessandro, calling from Stamford, Connecticut.
Yeah.
I hope he's registered to vote and can vote for Bobby Valentine, who I believe is running for mayor of Stamford, Connecticut.
Interesting.
And also, since he was formerly of where wasn't he in Michigan guy as well, or like
Ann Arbor.
Ann Arbor, yeah. He was the other Michigan Nick D'Alessandro. Since I am assuming you're new, go check out Pat's Hubba Hubba in Stamford, Connecticut. A great chili burger, chili dog, ice cream shoppy kind of greasy spoon. Go check out Pat's Hubba Hubba and vote for Bobby Valentine.
Another guy, again, not the personality, just because he was so good, was Troy Polamalu. He would just dominate the Bengals, and I couldn't stand him, right? Because he's always a thorn in the side. And then he retires, and you're like, he's great. And first of all, I think his commercials are funny. Like, yeah. I like him and Mahomes in those hair commercials.
Another guy for me whose game I always loved, but I fucking hated him because he was against us. But then obviously he leaves, and now also retroactively, like post-retirement, Scottie Pippen. I don't love Scottie Pippen, but like, man, do I appreciate Scottie Pippen's game, and fucking hated him when he was on the Bulls.
Yeah. All right, that's the calls for today. 310-359-8365. I know some of you guys left calls from me. We'll maybe get to those next week about the Bengals.
We'll get to them a few moments later.
I mean, I think we delved into the Bengals thing.
I think this is going to be we always have the thing. Every year we have a thing. This is the thing, obviously. Bets are open. Wagers are open.
Yeah, and look, guys, I'm only $150 in the hole if I lose right now. I can afford a few more bets. That's.
I mean, don't forget, you also have to pay for food and drink at the 2 Bengals games you're going to. So factor that into your.
Well, I might have connections for those games, by the way. So, am I paying for food and drink?
I feel like I need to make a wager with you prior to the playoffs happening, where if I win, you have to go to a Bengals game, the Bengals playoff home game in Bengals gear, and root for them. Now, obviously, I can't make you root for them, but like, just you walking in your Carson Palmer jersey, guys high-fiving you. Let's go, Houday!
I have so many vivid memories of Bengals games, like of disappointment.
I might need to come out there and fucking go to a Bengals. If the Bengals, Justin Wood, if you're still listening, if the Bengals have a playoff game, we should all go visit Andy Ruther in Cincinnati.
It's a terrible stadium. That's another reason fans get mad, but it really is. I'm not just saying this.
We could do the TJ Hushmanzadas of comedy. Maybe do a comedy night at the. The Hoosh of comedy.
And anybody who has a Hushmanzada Pro Bowl jersey, I mean, that's respect.
You a picture of it.
I know that I saw it. That's respect. That's respect. Like, it's ridiculous, but it's also respect.
We're gonna catch a game with the Hoosh of comedy.
Unbelievable. Leave us a podcast review on Apple, and if you do, thank you for those who've done that. I'll send you 2 koozies. So. Drop your Twitter, Instagram handle in that review. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at The Dirty Sports. We're on Reddit, of course. We have some fun threads sometimes.
You can follow me on all social media at Joe Prano. Please do. Please follow me on Instagram, where I put up all of my shows as they happen. I will be at Joe Prano on all social media except for Twitter, where I'm at Fix Your Life. And also I am traveling next week. I hit the road with Eddie Ift for what's about 10 days of shows. We go Friday, Saturday, the 4th and 5th in Wilmington, 5th and 6th in Wilmington, North Carolina. We got the 9th and 10th, I believe, in Naples, Florida. And we've got the 11th, 12th, 13th in Key West, Florida. I think I'm going to bring my golf club. So if anybody wants to hit the links in the Naples area, you let me know. Nice. And if anybody has any connections to the one and only golf course on Key West, or if anybody has a boat or a seaplane and lives in Florida and wants to hang out, let me know.
All right. That's our show, guys. Thank you for listening and for all the support. You guys have a great holiday weekend. And as always, stay dirty.